Welcome to Why Not Us podcast. It's your host Kenjay, and listen, I have the pleasure of having my sister Jamika Brown in the building, the
Hey,
Supervisory Chemist. How are you feeling mentally today, sis?
feeling good, feeling good. Thanks for asking.
Most definitely, most definitely. Thank you for coming to the platform. I really appreciate you, man.
No problem. Of course, I'm honored to be up here. Thank you for having me.
Man, listen, it's been I've been trying to get you up here for a minute, you know what I mean? I most definitely got to have you up here, cuz you believe in me, you encourage me, and yeah, that's the energy. So I'm always going to give you your flowers, and thank you for making my shirts. Thank you so
Of
much.
course, of
Thank you.
course. That's what we do.
Yeah, so I appreciate the support for real. So just got to let you know that.
Thank you.
So Jamika, what's new with you, man? What's new?
Nothing new. Life, just lifing.
Just life, man.
Yes, just lifing. As you said, I'm a supervisory chemist, so just I don't know what kind of questions you got for me. I don't really know what to say. What's new about that? But just same old thing. Adulting.
That's
what we
right,
didn't what we didn't think we had to do when we was younger, we were waiting to do, and now it's here, right?
man. It's here because it's like I can't wait till I get 18, and boy, when you
We used to say
18,
that, right?
it's like, man, I wish I would have not said it. I wish I would just, but you do that as a child. But what's a supervisory chemist? What does that entail?
So right now, I pretty much oversee other chemists and other scientists that work in our lab. Initially, I started out. You want me to tell you kind of like how I got to where I am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Of course, I grew up in the lovely, beautiful town of Lewisburg where we enjoy, right? And so shortly after I graduated from Lewisburg High School, I went to Norfolk State. I was honored and blessed to have a full ride scholarship in chemistry. As a program called Denemas. So it's a gentleman who used to sponsor people in the sciences and what people call now STEM careers. And so I took up chemistry. I'm not sure why I did that because we all know we had the same teacher. Everybody in Lewisburg had the same teacher for chemistry. I don't know how I made it out, but yeah. So when I went there, it was totally different. I fell in love with everything I was doing. The people were there were nurturing. It was just they were so supportive. Shortly after graduating, like before I even graduated, I was offered a job at Norfolk Naval Shipyard, which is where I've been ever since. When they say got it out the mud, that's me. I started off on the bench as a chemist, doing quality assurance testing different things for the Navy. Shortly afterwards, I became the quality manager for the lab, which oversees like everything quality wise that we do within the lab, make sure everything is up to speed. And now I'm a supervisory chemist where I oversee other people doing that, specifically in environmental chemistry. So I work a lot with like the state of Virginia, the sanitation district and things like that.
Man, that's so dope. So let me ask you a question. Would you say the teacher that we had at LHS, do you think that that might have been an issue why you thought you would have never majored in being a chemist major, like from my teacher? Because I failed her class if we talking about the same person.
It was only one.
Mm-hmm.
But I really didn't think that. I think just like now, a lot of times some educators are just not in the right place or not teaching the right thing or may not have the right delivery. So at the time, of course, everybody dreaded that and they weren't doing well because of the way that the information was delivered.
Yes.
So when you get into a different environment and people actually want to see you do well, and I'm not saying that she did not want us to do well. I'm just saying when people are vested in you and they want to see you do well, it's so much different. So yes, I
Okay.
think that made a big difference.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that for real, for real. I think it's really dope. When I think about chemistry, I just think about like putting different things together and boom. And of course, it's more than that. But that's what I think about. Just seeing a black woman just being a scientist, being a chemist, that's everything. And a lot of little kids want to be scientists. And just knowing that you can be a scientist and a chemist, that's everything. So what was your did you have any struggles with this field?
Of course, you're going to always have areas and courses that you feel like will be more difficult. And even just not even outside of chemistry, just like in the workforce, just being a woman, just being black,
Yes.
a lot of times that plays a big role. You have to be 10 times better, and that's still not enough. But for speaking on those kids that want to do those things, it doesn't start in the school. It starts at home. It starts in the neighborhood, the village that raises those children, because they have to encourage those children and let them know that no matter what you want to be, you can do that. We have to instill that in our kids within the community so that they know that whatever they want to be, regardless of what kind of teacher they're presented with, they know that they can persist and still go on and do what they want to do.
Ah man, that's beautiful in itself, because it is all about community. It is all about instilling that, like for real, those positive affirmations as a young kid. Like, yo, I can be whatever I want to be. Like, if I want to be a basketball player, if I want to be a teacher, if I want to be a DJ on a radio station, whatever you want to be, you really can be. But it's all about, man, who you're around in your environment. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And Jamika, I'm so proud of you, man. Just having
Thank
this
you. Thank you.
conversation, just just listening to you, and you always had that drive. You always been smart. You always been kind. You always just been giving, and you always just been full of love and light. So I'm just glad to see you flourish in life because you
Thank
deserve
you.
everything, sis.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So listen, with the chemistry, right? So
Mhm,
when you first started out, right?
mhm.
Like, what did you do like in the lab? Like, what is the first thing you remember doing in the lab?
Well, it's always interesting. Or the one thing you remember is putting what you learn from in the classroom and putting it, actually applying it in the lab. So I will say in Norfolk State, they are hands down the best. Like the chemistry department is just amazing. We had to start from scratch doing calculations and going there and do it. So it was a lot of, if it's not right, you got to keep going back and forth. So that tough love and that learning like that. So I just always remember going in and trying to we would have experiments. If you run out of stuff, that was it. So you pass or you fail. I mean, taking instruments apart, it's just, they taught us, just exposed us to so much stuff
Okay,
that I never thought that I would even be able to do. So that's why I say, if you can believe it and you just put your mind to it, you can do anything.
man. So with the calculations, sis, I wasn't really good in math, so I was taking
See, I
algebra
love
1A.
numbers. I
See,
love numbers.
See,
So
I was taking algebra 1A and 1B when you was taking algebra. So, I had to break it down. I had to take I think I had to take algebra 2. I took it 2 times, but I did pass it. But I mean, I really did never get like math like that. I know how to add, subtract, but again, maybe it was just like the teachers that I had. Because when I did have my last teacher, she was a black lady at Lewisburg High School. She was actually a good math teacher. I forgot her name, but she was an amazing math teacher. But I guess it's all about teaching. Um, I'm learning right now, like, man, it is about that teaching. Even at 38, sometimes we be like, man, I can't do this, I can't do that. But the whole time you can do it. It's just about the people that's teaching you and the people that's invested in you. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah, absolutely right.
like with your job now, what does your hours look like? Like, do you go in early? I mean, do y'all, I'm just asking.
So working at the shipyard is a unique job because you have to always be prepared and ready to go in, because you have emergency situations, and just one little thing could cause a delay and cost us so much money, right? So
Okay.
when I started out as a chemist on the bench, it was, I worked a lot of hours, but usually it was 8-hour days, but sometimes it would be, it's nothing to get a call in the middle of the night like, look, we got this emergency situation. we need somebody to come in, because they really do. Because you got to think about it. You're an expert at what you do. So they need that subject matter expert there to figure out what's going on in that situation so that it can be resolved and they can continue work. Because just like with everything else, when you do, one person affects somebody else. And so right now, a lot of people don't understand, but we really do play a big role, because we're one person, but it has a major effect on all the people that go out to sea, that's on the stuff, things like that. So I just have to keep that in mind. So as a chemist, when I was on the bench, you would get random calls, but mostly it's like regular 8-hour days. Now it's pretty much like 8-hour days, but I do get a lot of phone calls. I handle a lot of like business and money type situations and making sure paperwork is straight. So it's not as much physically there, but more mentally demanding. I do a lot more thinking, planning, strategizing, and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. I know you can, count those numbers because you, like you said, you like numbers. Can you talk about like one emergency that you had to like wake up in the middle of the night for, or can you talk about that, like something that you had to do like in an emergency situation?
So if, for example, I think we had one time, maybe somebody dropped a pen somewhere, or somebody may have been exposed to something that they should not have been exposed to. So we had to like test each part of that item to make sure that it didn't go beyond what was allowed to mess up like a system or something like that. Um, that's pretty much, I can't really go into detail a lot, but it's
Got
kind
you,
of like that.
got
So basically, just think about anything that you touch or anything that somebody touches, it pretty much has to be tested.
you. Okay,
So
okay.
to make sure that it's safe for, whatever, for use.
Okay,
Mhm.
so y'all test like water. Did like, because I don't know, any questions that's off limits, just let me know because I'm just
Yeah, you're
asking
fine.
questions.
You're
You know what
fine.
I
You're
mean?
fine.
So like, what about like COVID and stuff like that? Like the COVID, and doing stuff like that with like
So
COVID or whatever.
we don't do any testing with COVID, and actually we never stopped working. So because like I said, certain things have to be done every day.
Okay.
We never stopped working with COVID. We want to make sure that we're diligent in protecting our people and making sure they have the safety requirements and protection that they need. But yeah, we don't do any testing with COVID, and we didn't stop working for that. So we were considered, I guess, essential during that time period.
Okay, okay. See, I got a lot of questions because
That's
I'm
okay.
interested in, what I'm saying, knowing how everything goes, you know what I mean? So, you was talking about the environment. So can you give me an example of like what you do with in an environment? Like what do you
So
test?
Mhm. So my major responsibility is kind of, think of it like when you think about like the oil spills and things like that. Just like when we have waste and everything like that, you have to make sure that it's not above certain levels so that it won't harm the environment. So that's kind of like what my group does. We do testing to make sure that those things don't go beyond what they should. And if they do, try to help correct that and make sure that we get it right before releasing it and things like that, because you can
Okay.
get fined.
Okay, okay. So that's interesting. That's so basically like if oil spills, like in the water or whatever, y'all have to go out and make sure it's contained
hmm
and make sure everything's okay. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Or
So we want to make sure like we can see how much is there, so we can see how much, to make sure you haven't got enough exposure, or how it hasn't contaminated the streams to enough where they have to stop water flow and things like that. Yeah.
okay, okay, Jamaica. Wow, like I'm getting excited learning about something new. Like sometimes like when you think about chemistry or whatever, you just think about molecules and H2O, and you thinking about that. And when I was in high school, I really didn't grasp chemistry that well.
Mhm.
But I love science. So I love physical science, I love earth science. But when I got to chemistry, I really sucked at chemistry, but biology I love that as well. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it's like, man, chemists, man, y'all protect us for real, for real.
See, I think it's so neat because we really just think about taking something like like I said, like the pen. You take an ink pen and we literally get it into a form, break it down, whether it's digestion or whatever, to a point where it's in liquid form and we can tell you exactly what's in it, like how much chloride, how much fluoride, that's what we do. So I think that's like, that just amazes me that we can do that. We can take something that you see every day and you can just break it down and say, look, this is how much is in here. So, because if you
Yeah,
think about it, everything that you do, like when that's what do you think is on the cereal box? You know what I'm saying? Somebody had to take
yeah,
that, break it down, and tell you exactly how much of each thing is in there. So
yeah.
that's similar to the thing, like different methods to do that.
Wow. So now I'm like, wow. So now I'm seeing some Sour Patch Kids, right? So on the back of the Sour Patch Kids is different things, different ingredients in the Sour
Hmm.
Patch Kids. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
Yeah.
everything, bacon, life in general has everything. I
Hmm.
guess to do with chemistry, like making sure everything balances each other out
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, because if you think about it, we always say, just like, you use the recipe, you put this in there, you put that in there, and everything's supposed to be right. But at the end of the day, somebody might be sleepy a little bit. They might accidentally put two things in there instead of putting one, or they not
Yeah,
didn't put enough. So we're gonna always have that quality control over here that's gonna have to go back and test that. And so that's what that science portion is to, so you make it up, the science breaks it down. So
for
you just
sure.
think about it like that. So everything, literally everything that you come in contact, it's not just food, right? It's household chemicals, makeup,
Yeah,
everything. Because if the makeup or whatever doesn't have the right ingredients or too much of something, it can be harmful to you. So,
yeah.
or it can be toxic. So, all those things, science plays a role in all those things, and people really don't realize that until you sit back and somebody, breaks it down to them.
Yeah. So listen, when I think about science, right? Don't laugh when I say this. I think about peroxide and baking soda. I think about peroxide and baking soda because you remember back in the day that was a science project.
Yeah, or Coke with the Mentos, and you have the explosion.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So,
Uh,
but it's so much bigger than that. I have somebody Tiffany Taylor has a question for you. She said, so have you guys had any mistakes to happen that may have caused damages?
um,
That's a great question.
I'm trying to think. Well, it's always a potential when you're dealing with people and exposure to things like asbestos and stuff. Like my group, we test for asbestos, right? So sometimes you really, it's not a mistake on our end, but it was a mistake made on their end. Our job is more so just to tell them what it is versus like trying to stop the problem. We just let them know how bad the problem is, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. That really makes sense. So basically, y'all like, listen, y'all did A, B, C, and D wrong, so that's why E, D,
Yeah.
and
Or
F
we'll say
happened.
this is how much is in there, or this is what this is. Because sometimes they don't know what things are. You find a piece of something somewhere and it's laying down. You don't know where it came from, but it's showing up in your water or showing up something like that. So we'll say, well, this is what it is, and it'll help them go back and figure out where it came from. Was it harmful? Did it harm the system or anything like that?
Okay, so do y'all test like do they sometimes call y'all out to like test different waters because of lead and different things like that, the levels in lead rising and stuff like that as well?
Hmm. Yep.
Okay, okay. So
Yep.
that's interesting in itself as well. Um so Jamika, what advice would you give someone who wants to be a chemist?
Just do it. Call me if you need some help. No, but just literally, if you put your mind to it, chemist, anything, no matter what you want to be, just dedicate yourself to that. Make that your focus and just go for it. No matter what happened, no matter, how many bumps in the road. It was plenty of nights. I'm telling you, I called my mom on the phone, like, Mom, I don't know about this. I'm staying up all night studying for a test or doing whatever. But in the end, everything worked out. So, just keep pushing. Um, the things you work hardest for are the things that have the sweetest reward. So people just have to keep that in mind.
Okay, okay. So basically you just gotta go through it. You know what I'm saying? You
And
just
and don't
gotta
be afraid to ask questions. Yes, that's a lot of times people are scared to or afraid to ask people. I'm gonna tell you right now. If it's something I don't know, I'm gonna ask somebody. If I need something, I'm reaching out to all from people from back home in college. When I went to internships, it's no harm in asking questions because I mean, how else will you learn? We still learning today, but you won't ask if you don't know. If you don't ask, you won't know. So you have to be mindful of that. And when they always say knowledge is power, and people are willing to share, I want to see everybody do well. So if anybody is aspiring to do anything, if I can help them out, please let me know. Ask away, and I'll do what I can.
All right. So I got another question to ask you, right? So when y'all are going and testing these testing things, right? Like what is your whole suit? Like can you describe the suit that you're putting on? Like everything? Like what are you wearing when you're testing
Oh,
out these?
yeah. So we always wear like a lab coat, kind of like a doctor, the white coats. We wear white coats. Um, Actually, we just changed them to blue, but we usually white coats, safety glasses. If dealing with chemicals, because they're very like people really don't know that chemicals are really really hard. Like some chemicals get on your skin, it's all the way through, So you make sure we have on safety shields. Um, Most of the time, nitrile gloves, like the purple gloves you have. But if it's something that's heat, we use a lot of heat. We have like thermal gloves that we put on. We work a lot with cylinders testing like air, so we have to be careful with those because people don't know that sometimes if you don't handle a cylinder correctly, it can turn into a missile. So make sure that we kind of stage those and chain those up properly. So it's just different things like that.
Wait a minute. You said if you don't handle a
Like,
cylinder
well, yeah, like when you go to Dollar Tree, right? You
okay,
see they have
yeah.
the helium cylinders. So it's a connection at the top. So if that's hit the wrong way, it goes up. Because think about it, it's just air particles inside and everything moving around. Just like if it gets too warm, those particles start moving. And what happens when they don't have anywhere to go? It causes, you know. But yeah, it's things like that. So we just got to be mindful. A lot of our stuff is temperature regulated. A lot of testing, you got to make sure that the rooms are within a certain temperature range before we do that because of those things like that.
Jamaica. So basically this is a dangerous kind of it's kind of like
But it's just like any other job. It can be, yeah.
I mean, you just taught me something new today. Wow, like for real, it's making me want to go to YouTube and look more into it for real because like you just taught me a lot of stuff about like basically chemistry and chemists and what y'all doing out here. Like y'all heroes out here, like for real, like
I
real
appreciate
talk.
that.
Man, I'm proud of you, man. I gotta
Thank
clap for
you.
you
Thank
for
you.
real, for real, for real. So, um, you got any projects coming up that you might want to discuss or talk about?
No projects really. I do a lot of especially with sorority, my sorority, of course, the illustrious ladies, the Delta Sigma Theta. I do a lot of like we have Delta Academy and Delta Gyms where we work with young ladies and STEM projects. More recently, before I became a supervisory chemist, I did do tutoring a lot for people, but it became a lot because so many people would come, and I enjoyed doing it because it kept my mind sharp. But I had to gradually get out of there. But I was tutoring just to keep my, just to give back and to help people out. So I enjoy doing that because it amazes me that even 15 years later, I can remember all that stuff. So once you got it, I guess.
For sure, for
But
sure,
yeah, so if anybody needs any help or anything, I'm here. If I ask a question or need some advice or whatever, feel free. I'll give you my information.
for sure. Everybody that's listening right now, if y'all have a question to ask Jamika, y'all can ask her a question if y'all have a question. So, a question just popped up. How hard was it to become a supervisor, Jamika?
For me, so I like I said, I started off as a chemist. I applied to be the quality manager or whatever. After that, I actually was since it was at the same like pay level, they moved me there, I guess because they thought that I would be a good fit there. But a lot, just like a lot of organizations, we don't really have a lot of upper managers. So I'm one of the We only have like 5 managers. So for me, it really wasn't that hard. It was more hard for me to get to the same level as the supervisor, if that makes sense, the same pay level. And once I got there, they see what you can do and they just move it. But it wasn't that hard.
All right.
But I guess
So
too, I am one of like the younger ones there too. So that's like one of the challenges too, right? So already being a woman and being Black is kind of like a challenge, but like being one of the younger people there can sometimes be a challenge because you got people that's been there for a while and people feel, entitled to certain things. But a lot of times, people see things in you that you don't see in yourself. So I was fortunate for that. But if you work hard, it shouldn't, be hard for you to get when it's your time for you to get to where you should be.
that's the energy right there. So you done exceed all. You already on the top. So you just like for real. Like you can write your own book. You can do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because you have so much information. You feel me? Like you could be out here really like having your own like building your man. Listen, you already know how I am when it come to you. I be thinking about things like you could do this, you could do that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
already up there, Jamika. You
I
already
think because when it's you don't really think that you up there. You just
you
because
up there,
when you
girl. You up there.
okay,
Like you when I say you up there, girl, I'm gonna give you your flowers.
I appreciate
Yes,
that.
you up there. Yeah. Like this is so amazing. Like I'm over here just smiling because I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you, thank you,
I am
thank
so
you.
proud of you. I said 100 times. I'm so proud of you. Continue to strive for greatness, man. Just continue. You motivating me to be a better person, be a better version of myself. So, you know what I'm saying? Just keep being you, man, for real. Your dad said great job. Camilla said awesome. My mom said, we're so proud of you. You know what I'm saying? It's all love here for real,
I
man.
appreciate that.
Jamika Brown,
I
man.
appreciate that.
So
I
listen,
appreciate that.
Jamika, I appreciate you coming to the platform. I'm not going because I'll talk your head off.
I'll come back. I'll come back.
You know
Let
what
me
I'm
know.
saying? So I already know. Listen,
Yeah.
it's like 27 minutes, and I've been asking hella questions. So
It's
you already
okay.
know the vibes, man. We love you. Your dad said we love you. So you know
Thank
what I
you. I
mean?
love y'all too. And I just want to really truly say that like it really goes beyond like just the educational part. Just and I can't even name people because I'll forget somebody, but everybody growing up had such a impact and pour into me to help me get to where I'm at now. It's no way that I could have done it, what I'm saying, by myself. So what it was when we came up. That's what I love about back at home because no matter what the people that you had connections with way back when, you can call them today and it's there. We got our parents that were strong and they made sure we did right. They looked out, they made sure, what I'm saying? So all those things, all those people, I just, I'm truly grateful to have had them in my life and they helped me get to where I'm at right now. I really am because it's because of them, the sacrifices that they made, the love and stuff that they poured into us.
For sure, man. It's an amazing feeling just to have this conversation with you. Like,
Mhm.
for real. It's like on a different level. Like, bro, I know a chemist. You feel me? Like, I know a supervisory chemist. Like, what you saying? Like, that's the energy I
Stop.
got for you, man. That's the energy I got for you, man. So, everybody out there, just continue to believe in yourself, man. Whatever you want to do in life, you could do it. Just believe in yourself. Like you see Jamika, man. You see she's a supervisory chemist. She came to the podcast. I appreciate you again. Thank you. I'm gonna have you up here again. So,
Okay, absolutely.
Y'all already know I gotta play this outro. So peace and blessings, y'all.
Thank you
You
again.
can be what you wanna be. See what you wanna see. Go where you wanna go. Oh. Why not? Why not us? Why not us? Why not? Why not us with Ken J? Why Not Us podcast with Ken J.